He is part of a coalition of 4 males. There used to be 5, but one passed away, unfortunately. Now, sometimes you'll get one male that has a territory and has prides that he services in there. And then sometimes you get coalitions of litter mates, and sometimes it's from the same litter, sometimes it's from different litters. And every now and then you'll get coalitions that form from non-related males. These 4 brothers are, in fact, related to each other. They're called the Birmingham males, and that's because they were born on Birmingham property. And they are about 6 years old. They're 6 years old now, just about 6 years old. And he's having to clean himself, sadly. Danny, you would like to know why are the female lions separated from the male lion? Well, Danny, just because he is one of the males that I'm going to put slash and do air bunnies and be a little bit sarcastic in my word, protect these females. They don't necessarily need him all the time or his brothers all the time. They are perfectly capable of taking care of themselves, just as he and his brothers are perfectly capable of taking care of themselves. So a lot of their interaction has to do with mating, and then they like to just come and be around the females when they can, just to remind them that they are in fact the males that are dominant in this area. Ferg, I think let's head back towards the females, because it seems as if they're going to start moving off, and I think he will follow shortly thereafter. They could just go and lie somewhere else, or they might just be having a drink, but there is a little bit of movement happening there. So now sometimes the females like having the males around, and sometimes they don't. So it's possible that he's just lying to the side because earlier he tried to get closer and they were a little bit vicious and told him to move away. Or it's also entirely possible that they just got hot as they were walking about, because they weren't here an hour and a half ago when we came past here. They were farther into the southern side of this property. So maybe they just, as they were walking up, it's also entirely possible as well that the Pride came up and then he came from another direction. Jeff, interesting question. So again, we've got some new viewers. Last year, this Pride had a really bad case of mange, right? So the type of mange that these lions get, or any of the wildlife that we see here get, is the same type of mange that humans can get, but we call it scabies. And I'm sure most of you know what scabies is that really itchy skin disease, and you also get those hard callous parts. So their mange came up this Pride here because we had a bad drought that was going on, and the food that they were eating, there was a lack of nutrients that were in there, so therefore they had a harder time maintaining their health, and they had a lot of bad mange issues that popped up from that. So mange originally started occurring because of domesticated animals that came into this area, so basically that humans brought in, and then it transferred over into wildlife. So for me, it does look like they've gotten over most of their mange. I mean, they're still here. The only time that mange really does a horrible job and kills off a lot of a population is when a population is a very small population and has nothing else to aid them in growing that population, as well as if their health keeps deteriorating because of a lack of food or a really bad drought or any sort of resource issues. So you'll still see it around their elbows. That's where a lot of the mange occurs, and you'll also see it around the tops of their heads a little bit, but in general they seem to be doing okay, and that elbow scenario will keep carrying on for the foreseeable future. Now, what happens, this mange is a type of parasite. You can either get it on the hair follicle or it buries in the skin. This sarcoptic mange, that's what it's called, burrows into the skin, and then it gets inflamed, and then they scratch it, and then it gets infected, and then that's where the funny skin lacerations that we see come from. Now, I see that our Birmingham male has turned around to face us a little bit in his grooming, so I think if you all are okay, we might go back to him for a little bit because he's looking pretty in this sunlight. Gorgeous. Sky Doogie, you're curious to know if I've ever seen a lioness actively grooming an adult male. Yes, indeed, and I've seen an adult male actively grooming a lioness. It's very similar. The interactions between adult male and female lions are very similar to interactions between adult and female humans. Sometimes you get lions, male lions and female lions that just love everybody and they show their signs of love through touching and grooming and there's never any problem. And sometimes you get ones that just need a lot more space and they really want nothing to do with anybody else. And it's the same sort of idea. There he stood up. He's got a bit of a limp there. It also looks like he has not had a meal in a while. He's not going to die, don't worry. He's just hasn't eaten anything recently, quite thin there. And then that injury that you saw there is just looking like a bit of an inflamed paw, possibly from a hunting injury, possibly from fighting. Can't really tell. All right, everybody, now we have a little bit of a conundrum. Our tracking vehicle that is out and about, we're just going to hear a bit of a vehicle here. So just stand by for me. So we have a tracking vehicle that's out who has found another one of the large cats of the African bushveld. So we can stay here with the Styx and the Burmese, or we can go try our luck with the other cat that our tracking vehicle has found. Now, I am happy to do either. We haven't seen lions in a while, so I'm happy to stay here, but I'm also happy to go and try and see if we can see that other large cat. But I want you all as the viewers to decide. Remember, we are live, we are interactive, so hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. You can post which one we would like. You can say lion or you can say leopard, or you can tell us on the YouTube chat if you want to stay with these lions or go look for what our tracking vehicle has found, which I just realized I gave away. I was trying to keep it a secret, but I gave it away. It's a leopard. So we could get there and the leopard could be gone, or we could get there and the leopard could still be here, could still be there, or we stay here with these lions. You let me know what you would like to do, and I will wait here for your answers. I'm going to have a drink of water, actually, while I wait for your answers. Aaron, you're saying the Burmese male that's here is one that you all have named Nsuku. You have ID'd him. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate that. Say again?
We had him with the sore paw the other day.
With the sore paw. Sorry, I heard you had a leopard sawing in the background. Sorry, Ferg's just chatting to me now, and he says that the other day when they saw this Burmese male that he also had the sore paw. Do they know what it's from?
Right.
Ferg says no. Probably a hunting injury. I've got cats on the brain, that's why when Ferg was chatting to me, I was like, you heard a leopard sawing? I'm where? Super interested. All right, everybody, what would we like to do? Are we going to stay with our Styx Pride and our one Burmese male? Or are we going to head off to that leopard? Oh, and now the tracking vehicle is saying that the visual on the leopard is not the best anymore. We can always go and try and come back to the Styx, or we can just sit here and enjoy the Styx. All right, we're going to have another couple of vehicles moving in and out of here, so just excuse the noise. Eleven Bravo, you want to know if these lions would react to catnip. 11 Bravo, I have no idea. I would assume... Oh, please don't park there. Okay, good. I would assume... Sorry, there was another vehicle that joined us, and I didn't want him to park in front of where we could see the lions properly. I don't know if they would react to catnip, to be honest with you. I've never tried it. Catnip is not a naturally occurring plant, as far as I know, out here in the bushveld, and so therefore I don't think they've come into contact, and it's not something that I'm going to bring towards them. But I mean, if it's an attractive smell to domesticated cat, it might be an attractive smell to wild lions, and I don't really know. All right, our male lion has sort of flopped down horribly, and we have these females that are here. I just want to roll forward a little bit. Step 3, you would like to know, do mammals' feet, other mammals' feet other than humans, fall asleep like our human feet? So, you know, when we rest on a certain side of our body and then one limb sort of goes a little bit numb. I have seen, Stanley, from time to time, when a lion's been lying down, that when they stand up, they sometimes shake out one of their legs. So I would assume that that's something similar to how our feet fall asleep. But not being a lion myself, and also not being able to speak lion, I don't know if that's fully the case, but that would be my educated guess on that. I'm loving all this lion love they're giving to each other and to themselves. So if I had to choose out of the 3 large cats that we have on the African continent, which one is my favorite, it actually is lions. I love them. I love them when they're sleeping. I love them when they're hunting. I love them when they're doing anything. I know Tristan's favorite is leopard. I'd be interested to know what Scott's favorite. Nikki, do you know what Scott's favorite is out of the 3? Nikki says Scott's been loving the cheetah and the mara. That's what she can think of off the top of her head. Nikki, what's your favorite? I bet she's going to say leopard. I'm waiting for it. Yeah, it's a leopard. Ferg, yours?
It all depends.
Ferg says it depends.
Yeah, I like the leopard, but I like the lion.
Ferg says he likes the leopard, but he likes the lion. Yeah. I think I've said before that I really enjoy, like, lion's my favorite on foot, and then leopard from a vehicle. And we've had amazing leopard sightings the past few days, but I don't know, I look at a lion and I think it's definitely my favorite. We'll have to ask Taylor what her favorite is, leopard, lion, or cheetah, when we head back up to the Mara. Now, as another thought for the day, we have roughly 20,000 wild lions left in sub-Saharan Africa. So not only are we lucky to be seeing these ones, but we're also very lucky to hopefully find some more with Taylor this morning up in the Mara. Now they're all the same type of lion. They are Panthera leo, but there are different areas where we need the genetics, the populations, to keep the genetics flowing. So as we're sitting here with this one area of genetic population of lion, let's head back up to Taylor. We'll continue our conversation in a little while.
Well, I'm trying to think. I don't need to think. I know the answer to this question, and most of you should know the answer to this question too. What is my favorite big cat? It's of course lions. Love lions. They're my favorite. I don't love them at the moment though, because they're all hiding away from me. So Manu and I are trying to find our way back to those black herons that we had yesterday, which was quite a cool sighting. We just need to try and remember how I got there. This doesn't look remotely familiar, like not even a little bit, from the route that I took yesterday, but I suspect it's going to take us in a similar direction. Manu, and yours? Cheetah cats is Manu's favorite. They're just cheetah, but Scott has started this thing where he calls them cheetah cats, and because we're one big family, we all start sounding and saying the same things. It's ridiculous. So now every time I see a cheetah, or I see the word cheetah or hear it, I cannot say it without saying cheetah cats. Well, there we go. Yeah, it's quite nice. Two different big cats. Well, I like it when the lions chase the cheetah, Manu. That's kind of my favorite. Then I like cheetah as well. I do like cheetah. They're very interesting. I like leopards too, but lions are my absolute favorite. Again, these stinking patches. Where are the animals? I don't understand what is going on at the moment. Am I wearing an animal repellent? I think that might be the case. Maybe I don't know. Is it my outfits? Do I need to change my outfits? I can't think that I've done anything different lately. Manu, maybe we need to play music on safari and then that will lure them in. That probably won't lure them in, but it would be worth a shot. So I'm not sure what's happening, and there's no vehicles around here. I don't know where or the car that I was tailgating, not very good at that, so I wouldn't make a very good spy. I lost my target. So I don't know where they've all gone, but they did race in a southerly direction. Or maybe they've gone to the river. Oh. That name, I can't get the name. Please may I have it again? I feel like I'm going to make a mistake when I try and say it. It's a long one. Okay, well, I'm not going to get the name, I'm sorry. Jay, thank you, Faith. Thank you very much. Okay, Faith has helped me out this morning. So you were saying, don't worry. The fact that there's no animals, it's just gone a wild, I want to say goose chase, but that's not the words that you were using, a wild ride or something along those lines. Yeah, well, that's kind of what we're doing. You know what, I kind of wish though, when we don't have any animals, that this is when the roads are muddy and slippery, because then it would be a wild ride, wouldn't it? Banging around, Manu would be fearing for his life. It would be quite fun. I'd be smiling, I'd also be spraying mud up everywhere, and then we'd get very dirty. It'd be a lot of fun. But sometimes this happens. I always thought to myself, there's always something to talk about in the Mara. There's so much going on. But in fact, it's a lot more empty than what Djuma is, because at least with Djuma, and this is the things that I'm starting to miss now, and what's making me really excited about going back to South Africa, is being able to get out the car, to lay in the grass, and all the time to pick all the plants and have a closer look at them, taste the fruits, just being able to jump out of the car and run around for a little bit, get out and track an animal. So I really can't wait for all those things to happen. And just because I know the plants there too, it's quite tough not knowing the vegetation too well. I mean, obviously I've tried with a couple of them, but some of these smaller shrubs, they're going to be hard to find out what they are. Oh, Kendra's sassed me now. Sorry, Kendra. Kendra, you said that the reason why I'm not finding any animals this morning is because I'm not wearing my Wild Earth jacket. I'm sorry, Kendra, it got full of mud. It's in the wash. It should be back out this afternoon for the sunset safari. We'll see. We'll put it to a test. I'll wear my Wild Earth smart new Christmas present, and we'll see if that changes my luck. Hopefully it does. I don't know, though. I feel like it's something that's on my skin that I need to try and wash off. Just scanning. I'm pretty sure, surely we're getting closer to that area where we saw the heron. Or was it down? Still quite far down. Now, here's a question that's been asked quite a few times. And Karen, you're wondering, when am I going back to Djuma? Well, I should be back in South Africa in February after our TV show. And then I'm going on holiday, and then after I go on holiday, I suppose I have to come back to work here. So it'll be around the 1st of March that I will set foot in the Sabi sand again, which is very exciting. I'm actually going to be quite close to the Sabi sand for my first part of my holiday when I come back to South Africa. We're going to Hazyview, which is like an hour's drive or so if you go the back way from camp, from Djuma. So I'm on all the dirt roads. It's quite nice having to avoid all the tarred roads. So that's what I'll be around. And you know what, Manu, I know where this road takes me, and it's not the road that we want to go on because it's a dead end. So we can't go. Is it this one? I'm pretty sure I do this every single time I come here, and then it just takes you to like the edge of the river, and then that's it. So we don't want that one. We want a different road. Was there another road? I have no idea. I don't know when I last saw a fork in the road. believe you're all teasing me now. You guys are so funny about my jacket being full of mud. No, I didn't fall again. Oh yes, no, that's exactly, sorry, I took the wrong road. I'm supposed to go this way. I haven't. You know what? I'm just filthy. I don't know. I can walk out in brand spanking new clothes, freshly laundered, and I'll arrive at the car, and you've all seen how close my tent is to Final Control. And we park the cars outside Final Control. And there will be mud somewhere. There will be a grease stain on my leg. There will most certainly be something smudged on my face by the time I've got down to the car. It's ridiculous. I don't know how I do it. I think it's a talent. But yes, I tend to go through lots of laundry just because I get dirty all the time. It's crazy. Anyways, right. It seems as though Noelle has left the lions that were grooming themselves in order to go and search for the spotted cats. So she's going to save the day and find you all the big cats in Africa.
Hi everyone. Actually, the decision was made for us. There's a lot of other vehicles with guests who wanted to see those lions, and we had such a nice view that we've come up to look at this leopard that our tracking vehicle has found. And our tracking vehicle consists of a Scotty D and Conrad from Tech and a friend, and they have done an excellent job. Yes, let's show them. Anyone know anyone that's on the side here? So Scotty D decided, instead of having his morning off and doing nothing, that he was going to come out and find us leopard, and this is what he did. He came out and found us leopard. So thank you, Scotty D. We appreciate that. I'm sure everyone else appreciates it as well. Now Scott's just trying to explain to me exactly where this little leopard is hiding. So there are a bunch of fallen over trees that we're looking at here, and I'm assuming she's tucked underneath them. Must I pull forward a little bit, Scott?
Basically the tall quarry that's
yeah.
Looking to the right of that, there's two knob thorns leaning towards us.
Yeah.
She's just at the base of those knob thorns. So if you go forward...
Okay. Oh, Ferg's got her. Fantastic. Do you want me to go forward, Ferg, or are you happy? Okay, there. Oh, you can see. You can see just the little rosettes through the side there. Nikki's saying we can see 3 spots. All right. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate your hard work. Go have fun finding something else. And we're just going to move forward a little bit and see if we can get to this leopard a little bit better for you. There's an ear. She's found the most concealed little area to hide herself in. There we are. There we go. There is a leopard ear. So I know the visual is not as good as we had with our lions, but we do have to share with everybody else. And also I'm hoping that those lions will stick around for our afternoon drive as well. Now, unfortunately, I can't really do much about where she is and where we are because of the amount of fallen down because of elephant fallen down knobthorn trees are in here. But I'm thinking we might be able to... No, it's going to be too thick. I think we're just going to have to go for the ear for now. And then also, because it's so nice and hot here this morning, she is most likely going to be here for the rest of the day. So we know where to start from this afternoon. Is Liz, you're wondering if we know which leopard this is? Is Liz, we don't, as far as I know. I know that when Scott found her, Scott was busy tracking, and then when he found her, she was up a little bit, and then she sort of ducked down. So my guess is, because of the area that we're in, is it's either going to be Shadow or it's going to be Tundi. We're a bit far out of Kuchava's territory area. We're just a bit south for Tundi, but we're in a very good area for Shadow. So I'm going to go with Shadow/Tundi and leaning towards Shadow. Also hoping it's Shadow because we haven't seen Shadow in a while. And if this is Shadow, then in 2 game drives we've seen 4 of our territorial leopards. And then we would just need to get a bit of Mvula, some Tamba. Would be good. Who? Ferg, I thought she was not Barbara now. Ferg saying he wants to see Barbara. So Shadow's youngster has unofficially been named Barbara. Although I get some photos and from viewers and a few notes from viewers, and they've started calling her hashtag not Barbara. So I think we're still waiting to give her her proper Shangaan name. But you can see just how well camouflaged they are. Could you imagine if you tried driving past here, you would never see this leopard in here. And a lion is so much bigger than this leopard that we're looking at. But even in this area, a lion would still hide very well because of the little bit of destruction that's happened from the elephants. Hi everybody, we're having a good morning. Relaxed morning. Birding, jackals, giraffe, lions, baby lions, leopard. And don't forget, we are live and interactive, and we love your questions, so keep them coming through, or keep the comments coming through. I'd like to know maybe what's been your most favorite part of the last two shows. What's been one of your most favorite sightings? So last night we had Hosanna chasing piglets with Scott, and we had Kachava and Tingana interacting with me, and this morning we had all those wonderful birds, and then we had the Styx and the Burmese just now, and now we've got this little female leopard. And then I was so busy with that Tingana Kachava sighting yesterday, I actually have forgotten what Taylor and Ralph saw up in the Mara, but I know they always see fabulous things. So Taylor will have to remind us when we go back to her what was potting yesterday afternoon with them. And then I would like to know what you all have been thinking has been your favorite moment. I have to say that painted snipe's been very good for me so far, even though I love the lions and the leopards. So I think while you all are deciding what's been your favorite moment over the past few drives, let's head back up to Taylor in the Masai Mara and see what she's getting herself up to in that beautiful lush grassland.
Look at what we found. We've got a collection of bin chickens feeding in a marshy spot. Of course, they're not bin chickens, they're African sacred ibises, but everybody in Australia seems to call them bin chickens. I really like that name. And I think there was a very funny documentary comedy thing done about the bin chickens. If you can find it, you know what I'm talking about, please share it, because everybody deserves to see that and everybody needs to laugh. But here we are watching them in real life, not hanging around rubbish areas, abattoirs, but in their natural habitat where they should be. But they are known to frequent the cities, and they can adapt quite well to the city life. But they seem to be doing a much better job out here, probing with those bills in a nice soft mud, looking for all sorts of invertebrates living in it. And then there's even a grey heron who's having a grand old time, catching all the fish and all the frogs. But they have such a varied diet. They eat a bit of everything. And I love how the heron this morning is leading the pack of bin chickens as it marches along. It's like it's got its army behind it. Of course, they are in no way, using one another. Maybe the heron will be benefiting from having so many African sacred ibis around, because they'll be flushing out a lot of the food towards its feet. Catherine, you've said, wow, there are so many. There are indeed. They are quite gregarious, so they often live in groups. They nest communally as well. A lot of these, like herons and things, oh, that's an interesting sound. Hello. Who's making that noise? That was a strange sound. I don't think I can say I've heard that sound before. Even to sing. Hang on, have a little listen to this. Oh, I don't know why you can't hear them loudly. It's very, very, very audible. Can you hear it, Manu? Yeah. Loudly, eh? Yeah. There must be something wrong. I'm so sorry, everybody. It is actually a very beautiful sound. You can even hear the sacred ibis wading through the water and through the grass. Let's try it again, though. Even Egyptian geese calling in the background, but it's quite a cool sound. And them moving through the water. It's very peaceful, it's very tranquil out here. Now the heron is changing direction. I think it's catching lots of frogs. I would imagine that there are lots of their little cacos, and this is the frog that we hear the most, and they're small, so there will be of them around. There we go, got another one. Delicious. Obviously you found a good spot there. So I might not be winning with the lions and leopards, but at least the birds are being kind to me. Thank you very much, feathered friends, for at least providing some entertainment. Oh wow, that was a big one. Definitely catching frogs. And a very striking bird. Now, Angie, you're wondering if we ever see banded or tagged birds. Occasionally, I see it on vultures. That for me seems to be the most common bird that I've seen tagged. But I haven't seen any up here in Kenya yet. I saw a few in Zambia that were tagged, and then we see them a lot down in South Africa, especially around the Greater Kruger National Park. There's a lot of rehabilitation centers, a lot of people who are out trying to tag vultures and putting tracking devices on them and tracking their movements throughout Africa. So you do tend to see quite a few around there. And then in the cities, my goodness, I've actually seen some raptors. I've seen some eagles as well. There was it was in the Drakensberg, a pair of black eagles, or Varroa's eagles, that were both tagged. So I've seen that. Oh, there we go. Greater egret joining the party now too. There's even there's a woolly neck stork. There's a couple of little sandpipers bobbing up and down every now and then, but they're so hard to get a decent view of them. But there's the woolly necked stork, an easy one to spot. Also feeding amongst here. So I suppose essentially this is a bird party. It has to be a bird party. They're all feeding together, and we see bird parties obviously in the forests and the woodlands and the grasslands. And there goes a little sandpiper. And normally what's quite interesting about the food parties is that the prey is being flashed up to different levels. So it's maybe starting low down and moving up, or something that feeds quite high in the trees, encouraging an insect to fly quite low down. Everything's at this bird's feet. And the frogs are starting again. I don't know if they're crying for help. No, it sounds quite far away. And of course they're not crying for help. They'd rather sit quietly and use their camouflage when the birds move past, because if they make a sound, the birds will know exactly where they are. Might just hear a vehicle coming past us. There is somebody about to drive next to us. Bless you, Manu. Manu's done the first sneeze of the day. Congratulations. You beat me to it. There were bets that I was going to start sneezing. I'll have you. I have not sneezed once this morning. Antihistamine worked. Now, Jacqueline, you're wondering if this is a swamp, a marsh, or a riverbed. So it's a marsh. I'm going to say it's a marsh. There's quite a few reeds sort of growing. There's lots of grasses growing here. In the dry season, this is just a grassy area. And then when we get some rain, it tends to hold water quite a bit. And the Mara Triangle and the Masai Mara National Reserve are filled with marshy areas. I would have showed you in my book. Hang on, maybe I have a drawing. But Ralph has got my Mara book at the moment. He's just having a look at it. But I think I drew a picture. Remember I drew a picture? Did it have anything about marsh in there? Looks like I've got a couple of maps. No, you can't even see on that one. No, I don't have the actual picture with me, but we'll find it. We'll show you in the book. But yeah, it's filled with marsh. I don't know, is a marsh and a swamp a similar thing? I think it's just in the States, you would call it a swamp, and we would, in South Africa and Africa, we would typically say a marsh. I'm not sure if they're exactly the same thing. I'm sure someone could pop it into the interweb and give a definition of both of those words. Look at the amazing shape that bird has in its neck. It looks like a question mark or a hook. And it's so flexible. I think they're catching a combination of little fish. Maybe there's little barbel living in here, or tilapia, and they can be transported quite easily by a number of different types of birds. And all they have to do is get eggs on their legs or anything like that, and then pop them into the next watering hole. Happy Kat, you're wondering if any of the birds that we're looking at the moment migrate. No, the African sacred ibis are residents. They're around all the time. Grey herons are also around. And the great white egrets, they're pretty common and fairly resident too. Woolly neck storks, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're resident. Let me just quickly check. I'll open my bird app very quickly. I think that there are some cats somewhere far south of where we are, because that's where all the vehicles are going. They're all passing us. No one's having a look at our beautiful birds. Sorry, I'm just trying to find stork. There we go. And where's woolly necked? Yeah, I don't think they migrate. No, they're common. Okay, no, it says here that, well, this is for southern Africa though, that there are migrant populations, but typically residents. So there we go. So a bit of both. Very cool though, to sit with birds like this and watch. And you can sit here for a long time and just see what these animals eat. I mean, I've seen these African sacred ibis scavenging when the migration was here. They were feeding a lot of the wildebeest carcasses that had washed up on the banks of the Mara River. So it's amazing how varied their diet is, and I suppose that's why they adapt so well to the cities, whereas something like a heron, and particularly a grey heron, which spends most of its time in the water, is that, well, they need a permanent source of water and something that's got frogs or crabs or fish or something along those lines living in it. So if they don't have that, then they can't really adapt to the cities, can they? They can live at our swimming pool though. So there used to be lots of frogs there. Right, okay, I believe there's an answer between the swamp and the marsh. Nikki, I'm ready. I'll try and concentrate and listen very carefully. Okay. There we go. Beard, you are an absolute legend. Thank you. You've given us the definitions. Now I'm going to very poorly misquote them. So yes, these are marshes. These are not swamps. So Beard has said that marshes are typically made up of grasses and reeds that are nutrient rich and support abundance of life, whereas swamps obviously can hold water, but they support woody plant species. So yes, this is all grasses and reeds that we can see. We know that reeds are round and grasses have nodes all the way down. Haha, my rhyme. I always try and squeeze that in whenever I can. So these are all marshes, and they come and go every now and then, depending on how much rain we've had. But they hold water really, really well. And you can clearly see how healthy this ecosystem actually is. Like the definition said, it is supporting a huge abundance of life, from birds to, of course, amphibians. There'll be reptiles in here too, and of course, the insect life. But without further ado, Noelle has managed to navigate the savanna bush in the Sabi sand, and she's got herself a decent view of that leopard.
We are still in the same spot, unfortunately, of this beautiful little female leopard. So we decided to just stay a little bit longer so you all could see the back of her head for just a bit more. And unfortunately, we just really can't get into the other side. I know it's very frustrating for all of us because it's a leopard and we want to be able to show you the leopard. And I couldn't stay with the lions longer because other vehicles needed to see the lions. So sadly, I don't know, I guess we shouldn't complain. We've had lions and now we've had leopards on this very, very beautiful morning. Alright, so again, because we've got some new viewers, maybe we can back up a bit. Sorry for the noise in the background. We just have another vehicle that's with us. Maybe we can just back up a bit and chat a little bit about leopards. So again, leopards are one of the big 5 species. So of the big 5 today, we have seen lion and leopard. We have not seen elephant or buffalo or rhino in the Mara. So we don't show rhino from the Sabi sands here because we work on a small traverse area, but we do show rhino up in the Mara where Taylor is, as they have a larger area to traverse. So with leopard, as you can see how well this one is camouflaged, this is one of the reasons why they're one of the top most 5 sought after, is when they're hiding like this, they're virtually, you really just cannot see them. Now this other vehicle has moved, so as I'm saying we cannot see them, I just want to move around to where they were, and I want to see if possibly we get a bit better view, although I have a feeling from the facial expressions of the guests that were there that it's probably the same thing. But let's have a quick look as we come around. So Jojo, you're asking how they knew it was a female. Now Jojo, when Scott found her, she was moving, and females are much smaller than males, and so he could say this is a female, and then he told me. But then also just from the back of her head and her ear that you could see there, yes, this view is not much better. I'm so sorry, everyone. It's a very small ear and a small back of the head, so you could possibly say, oh, it could be a young male if we were just seeing that, or a female, but that would not have been the ear and the back of a head of a big male. Also, just before you came to us, she lifted her head up for about half a second, and put it down, and just all of the features are very slender and female-like. So everyone, I think as much as I would love to stay here longer, I just think that sadly our view is not the best, so I think maybe let's carry on and see if there's anything else we can find for you in the last little bit that we are here with Djuma before we send you up to the Mara for the rest of the game drive. So thank you for the tracking vehicle, for being out and about, and for finding us this leopard. And this afternoon, I'm sure Scott or I will come straight back here and have a look and see about getting a better view if she's still here. I can't imagine with this heat that she would go too far, that is for sure. And also we'll check on those lions this afternoon as well. And we still have our whole list from this morning that we haven't managed to get to, with the African hoopoe and the black-headed oriole and the southern ground hornbill, but we did tick the leopard. We ticked the leopard off our list. Matt, you're asking if we're going back to the lions. Matt, unfortunately, we're not going back to the lions. There's too many other vehicles who would like to see them, and we had our spot and we had hard time, and sadly, that's all I can do for this morning. We're gonna have to wait for this afternoon. I actually went in, I did something called bumping a sighting, because I didn't know the sighting was there because they were on a channel that I wasn't on, and when I drove up they were there, and then I just parked off and showed them to you. So I pushed our limits a little bit, and then the guys were nice enough to give us sort of 20 minutes there, but unfortunately that's all we can do for today, and for this morning, and maybe later. It is Christmas time, so there's a lot of guests that are out and about, so we do have to share. Brent, do you want to know how the Asiatic lions and the African lions differ in appearance? Brent, I haven't seen the Asiatic lions in person, but I have seen photos of them, and to me they look relatively the same. Possibly slightly smaller, but you'll still have the same sort of coat pattern and the same mane system going on. Very similar to how rhinos from Africa and rhinos from Asia are very similar in many aspects, although most of your rhino species that occur over on the Asian continent just have the one horn rather than the two. But very, very similar. Yeah, that's definitely on my list, Brent. I really want to get up there and go and see the few remaining Asiatic lions. There's maybe, I think the last number I got was maybe 60 in total, 60. That would be fun. And something actually I've never seen is a cougar or a panther. I've never seen those in North America, and I haven't seen a jaguar yet in South America. So if I had to choose another one of the big cats that I haven't seen yet, I would probably choose jaguar. I really would like to go down to the Pantanal in Brazil and go look at the amazing bird life that is there, as well as going to look for jaguars and capybaras and the pink dolphins in the Amazon. Oh, I've got a whole list of things. Oh my goodness, there's a teeny tiny little tortoise. a little tortoise. Just to give you an idea at the size of this tortoise. Ooh, I'm getting caught. I'm just gonna step out. So this is roughly the size of my hand. He's tiny. Little hingeback tortoise there. I'm not gonna pick him up or anything like that. I'm just gonna let him carry on. And he's not a brand new baby one. Those Styx tortoises only get to be about this big, but he's tiny compared to the other ones that we usually see. That was fantastic and unexpected. So for our new viewers, yeah, and a very fast tortoise, exactly, Nikki. For our new viewers, tortoises live on land and are vegetarians. Turtles live in the ocean and are specialized feeder, and terrapins live in freshwater. So we're heading to one of the dams now, so we might get a view of a terrapin. And terrapins as well, their feet are a little bit different. They've got claws as well as webs, whereas tortoises just have claws. And then turtles have flippers. Or fins. I always confuse flippers and fins. Ooh. Brent, you're wondering if we have lots of frogs here by us. Brent, we do have lots of frogs by the water holes. We usually hear them in the cooler parts of the day, so early morning and late evening. I'm assuming that you were maybe doing some frogging with Taylor up in the Mara, or at least talking about frogs. And we do have them here. We also have many toad species as well. Now, we haven't done a lot of frogging.
When I was putting my pants on this morning, a frog popped up.
Ferg says when he was putting on his pants this morning, a frog popped out. Was it a foam nest frog, Ferg? So we get these foam nest frogs. They build these beautiful little nests, but they come into our rooms because it's cooler in there, and then they stay in there for a while. So they obviously thought Ferg's pants were the best thing to me. That's fantastic, Ferg. Did you get a fright? Did you scream?
I didn't scream. I'm like, hey, Mr. Frog or Mr. Frog?
He says he didn't scream. He just said, "Good morning, Mr. Frog." Elephants! Yay! Surprise, surprise! How fabulous. See, anything can happen. We're talking about a frog in Ferg's pants, and then there's elephants around the corner. Ferg, are you happy for me to park here, or do you want me to go to the other side? All right. Gorgeous. We have a parade of elephants. We had a pride of lions. We only had one leopard today, so it wasn't our leap of leopard like we had last night. And then we've got our parade of elephants here. Another member of our Big Five family for our new viewers today. So now on the drive, you've now seen 3 members of the Big Five. Oh, this is Nikki's reminding me yesterday when Scott was out on drive. This is where they found Hasana at Treehouse Dam. Ferg, I actually think I do want to go around to the other side. They're just moving off a little bit, so I just want to meander around just to get a bit of a different view for everybody. And I also just want to see if we can keep them on camera as long as possible. There's some youngsters here, which is quite nice, and they're going to move up the bank there. I think this is lovely with that beautiful reflection in the water. Absolutely gorgeous. So we will we have one that has an interesting little trumpet to it. It's not a full trumpet, it's more like a horn. So this is a breeding herd of elephants. Breeding herds are controlled by a female who's the head. She's the matriarch. And then all of the adult males, when they're about 15 to 18 years old, get kicked away. Now, that being said, the ones that are fighting just here, the one that's having a nice big poo for you, is a male. He's a male that would have been kicked away from a breeding herd probably a couple of years ago. He looks to be in his early 20s. So he's not part of this breeding herd, but he's definitely following them around. Just to he's following them around just probably because he gets a little bit lonely from time to time, but also because his hormones are surging, and so he's going to be smelling any females that might be ready to mate. Now, while we're busy with these elephants, let's quickly head back to Taylor for a Hammerkop update, and then we'll be back.
Look at what we've come across. We've come across a very untidy Hammerkorp's nest. Now, some of you may remember we watched a pair of Hammerkorp birds building it, but we haven't seen them for the last few days. Now, to me, it doesn't look like there's much more construction. There's a little bit more construction from when we were last here and we put these birds live, but it just looks like the nest is deteriorating quite slightly. The top bit looks quite neat, but all the grass seems to be falling out. I don't know if these birds have maybe abandoned this nest. It could be a bit too soon to say anything, but I have not seen them around here for the last few days. So maybe they were pestered by other birds, maybe there were some snakes that were bothering them. I'm not really sure what would cause them to abandon their nest, but it could be, well, any of those really. But that's a bit of a pity. I was hoping that we were going to watch them lay their eggs, have their chicks, and then we were going to see the entire process, because it's so close to the road. It's in the most perfect spot on this patternwood tree. You know, yes, there are a couple of leaves around, but there are nice open places that we can actually look inside. It would have been really great, but they haven't quite finished it just yet. Anyways, we'll keep checking, and hopefully the birds make a return and continue the construction of their very large nest. Noelle, however, has managed to get a much better view of those elephants. Let's go take another look.
So we're still in the same spot on top of the dam wall, watching these two young males having a bit of a wrestling match. Now, the older one that I was talking about, that's on the left-hand side, that has been kicked out of his herd a few years ago, is busy chasing this other one around and around and around. Now, I would assume that this younger one is possibly still attached to his herd, although he's starting to push the limits of age there. And this wrestling that they're doing, some of it is in fun, some of it is in play, and some of it is to practice. Within the next few years, they're really actually going to have to start fighting with larger males, especially when it comes to water holes in times of drought or during dry seasons as well, when resources start depleting. They don't want to be beaten up too much by the older males, and so they need to know how to function their tusks and their trunk and their bodies and keep themselves as safe as possible in those scenarios. But also, again, elephants are extremely playful, so a lot of this is still play. Now, one of them is missing a tusk. Those are like your two front teeth. They grow, they get a set of milk teeth, and then the rest of them come out, and then they stay that size. They stay that, if they break off, they're not going to grow again. Unlike their molars that sort of traverse through the mouth about 6 times in their lifetime. They get 6 sets of teeth. And that's usually what an elephant will pass away from, is when the 6th set has worn down, then they can't really chew their food anymore. And that's also where the whole idea of elephant graveyards came from, because most of the time when elephants are on their 6th set, they move to an area where there's softer vegetation, and then they'll try and eat as best they can, and then they'll pass away there. And because elephants tend to like similar areas over their lifetime, then you'll have an accumulation of dead elephants, so of the skulls and things, and that's where the whole idea of elephant graveyards came from. Sorry about that, Nikki. I do believe Scarlett has a question. Scarlett, you'd like to know what the top speed of an elephant is. Usually they're about to 55 to 60 kilometers an hour, although I've clocked them up to about 70 kilometers an hour, but that's really, really pushing it. So quick. Not as quick as a lion or leopard, but they can do their speed for longer than a lion or a leopard could do, and definitely not as fast as a cheetah. So now we have a bunch of little bulls around the dam as the breeding herd has moved off, and one of the tiny, well, not tiny, but younger youngsters has decided to stay, as he wants the company of the boys as opposed to his parents, well, his mums and his aunties. And they're sort of sizing each other up, having a little drink while doing that. Cleaning off, skimming off some of the water to get to the cleaner water below. And none of these are fully grown adult males. All of these males still have a lot of time left to become probably about twice the size of what they are now. Now, a fully grown adult male elephant can hold about 10 liters of water in his trunk at one time. These boys are probably doing about 6 to 8 liters at a time. So not only do they use that trunk to smell, but it's also for sucking up water and then pouring it into their mouth. And they also use that trunk like a hand to pull off branches. And then the two little lips at the end of the trunk work like little fingertips to pull off leaves. Pachyderm, you are asking how many muscles are in an elephant's trunk. There's roughly about 100,000 muscles, so it's just under 50,000 sets. Yeah? No. 500 sets. 500 sets would give you... I'm sorry, I really can't do math. We're just going to go with just under 100,000 muscles. You always catch me out on the math questions. Just under 100,000 muscles in that trunk. Very dexterous. Scarlett, you're curious what elephant skin feels like. I did some relocation with some elephants a while back. I also did, I was part of a research project with doing some contraceptives with Ellies. And so I have been fortunate enough to actually touch a wild elephant in that process. And their skin's actually quite soft. It looks really rough because of all those wrinkles, but it's very soft. And behind the ear is incredibly soft. It's like velvet. It's absolutely amazing. I've never felt anything else like it in my life. It's just the most soft, and it's warm because that's where all the veins are at the back. It's really incredible. We also had, that was another elephant interaction that I had. We had an elephant whose tusk was broken off in a fight with another big male elephant, and it broke off so far up in that it started creating an infection, and he was getting a little bit loopy from it. So the reserve management decided that they wanted to bring the vet in and take care of that. Sometimes they just let it carry on, and sometimes they bring in the vet, and I got to be part of that process, and that was absolutely incredible. And he was a big male, and so we tracked and found him, and then the vet came in, and the vet darted him. And then he fell on his wrong side from the M99, the stuff that puts him under. So we had to turn him over. That was quite an effort. And then it was so incredible watching the vet pull up the sort of skin and the gum around where the tusk was. And then he took an angle grinder and smoothed out the tusk so that it couldn't cut the inside there anymore. And then he injected medicine into where the infection was happening. And then we just triple checked everything. Checked all his vitals, and then gave him the jab to wake him back up. And the most amazing thing, and it's something I hadn't thought of before starting to do research with them, is when you do have to put them under for something like this, you have to make sure the trunk stays open. So we just found a little stick and just put it in between the two little lips there, and that kept the trunk open, so he was breathing, and we poured water on him the whole time. And anyway, so we gave him his jab, and he woke up, and he stood up, and he looked around and was like, oh, hello, humans, and then wandered off and carried on with his day, no issue. It can be very difficult doing this with elephants because sometimes if they land wrong or if they're transported wrong, thank goodness we didn't have to transport this one, things can go wrong and they can pass away, but this one ended up being fine, and he's still carrying on as far as I know, and wandering about. And then because they had to use the angle grinder to smooth out that tush, there was little pieces of that ivory that were left over, and we were given these little pieces as gifts for helping out. So I have mine squirreled away in a safe spot for, I don't know, grandkids or something, or just memories. But it was a really incredible experience. I enjoyed it. This elephant's listening to me now. Lindsay, you're curious to know why elephants need such big ears. Lindsay, elephants don't sweat like we do, so the only way they can cool themselves down is with those big ears and the vein network that is behind them. So when it's warm, they flap their ears a lot to cool down, to process that blood flow, to take warm blood out and bring cool blood in. And then when they're cold, they hold them flat against their head so that the warm blood stays in and keeps them warm. So that's why they have such large ears. That reflection in the water right now is absolutely stunning. How gorgeous is that? Now most of them have moved off, but these two are going to stay and keep an eye on each other. And I just want to thank all of you for joining me this morning. It's been a really lovely morning. We had some good lions, we had a little bit of a leopard, we had these beautiful elephants, and we had amazing birding. So, and that sunrise we had this morning with the hippo was absolutely fabulous. So please enjoy the rest of your game drive with Taylor, and Scott and I will see you this afternoon.
It was a lovely morning, and Noel, thank you for saving the day with the lions and the leopards, because without you, it would have been a very feathery day. Feathery and thick-skinned, I believe it is what it would have been. And speaking of thick skin, here we are with an elephant bull who is just feeding at the moment, right next to the car. He's quite chill. And guess what? We found the buffalo. The buffalo are finally here. Remember I was telling you this morning how normally we're greeted with them, with the sights and sounds and smells too, because they're quite smelly. And they're out. They were in the forest. They became forest buffalo for a few hours. Now, as you just look at this beautiful vista, there was a bird that I took a photo of, and I don't know what it is. And I wanted to try and find out so that I could show you. But and then I shall post it, and then you can all have a little look. It was a pretty bird though. I actually have no idea what I was looking. It reminded me of an African cuckoo hawk, but I don't know if that was the case. But this is an area that is normally filled with lots and lots of different animals. The elephants and the buffalo in particular like it. It's slightly marshy, very grassy, and a few small shrubs in between. So it allows for a variety of animals. There's the Ololololololo gates. So that's what you have to come through in order to get into the triangle. Buffalo are trying to sneak past. I bet that their permits are expired, and that's why they're running like that, trying to escape the rangers. Lots of little grass birds chirping. Unfortunately, not that we can see any of them. That's the only problem with all the, what am I trying to say? With all the tall grass, is that we're missing out now on a lot of these little birds that are nesting quite low down. And unless you go walking in there, you're unfortunately not going to see them. Okay, so the bird that I was looking at was not an African cuckoo hawk, I don't think. Just reminded me of one, but it wasn't. Maybe it was a juvenile or something, and that's why I can't figure out what it is. I'll let you show you the photo, I promise. Was it a... Oh my goodness, I think it was a western banded snake eagle. No ways. I think it was. Hang on, Manu, we're going to get the picture on. Yo, hang on. Maybe. Mario, you're wondering, oh my goodness, that's quite hectic, if an elephant would bleed to death if one of its arteries in its ears were severed. I've actually seen elephants with a lot of ear injuries, and obviously it's quite common. We see them with tattered ears, it's quite torn, holes in the middle of their ears, and often it will go through a vein or something like that. It does bleed quite a bit, but not to the extent where they will die. It seems to coagulate quite quickly, and then it heals fairly well. That skin is thick, and you can see that elephant just on the bottom of his ears has got a few holes. So I think it would depend on how many veins and arteries it went through, but I don't think so. I think that they would be okay. I think that they would be fine. There's lots of little blood vessels. I mean, I know I often get blood noses in summer, and it never lasts for very long. Every time that I've ever cut myself, on my hand, and it's gone through a vein or something like that, it bleeds for a little bit, but it's not anything too hectic. So I think that they would be fine. So right, let's have a quick look here. I don't know if it was a southern banded snake eagle that I saw, which I couldn't imagine that we would see here, or if it was a western banded snake eagle. I'm just quickly looking at the western banded. But I'm very, very excited. Take a look at this. It could essentially be a new bird for me. And you will see that. Take some screenshots. It was a big bird. It wasn't small in size. It was probably between maybe about 65 centimeters, so 2 rulers. So there we go. That's it. What do you guys think of that? Now I'm going to open my. Let's have a look at the book. Let's see. And then I've got some real pictures as well. Snake eagle. That'll be quite cool. It'll be a new bird for me. SN. There we go. Snake eagle, page 82, right in the beginning. Okay, almost there. Now we need to decipher. Oh no, sorry Manu. The mic pack has fallen down again in my ponytail. I think I'm causing a roadblock. I love how we're just sitting with this elephant reading a book. Okay, so number 1 is the southern banded snake eagle, which it kind of occurs just at the tip, the southeastern tip of Kenya, and that's what it looks like there. And then number 2 is the western banded snake eagle, which also it occurs a little bit more. So I think it could have been the western banded snake eagle. They're very similar. Let me open my bird app now on my phone. Let's try a different thing, because that hasn't really got too many pictures in it, and then we can compare. And let's have a look here. Make sure my phone is nice and clean. Everybody's coming to watch this elephant bull. He's beautiful. Sorry, you might be able to hear all the cars moving around. Oh, to put my passcode in. Right, western banded snake eagle. Go away. That was a fly that I'm talking to. I'm not talking to the people, don't worry. I'm trying to find a good picture. Okay, let's turn it. No, not turning. Well, normally it turns. I don't know. Okay, let me go that way. Sorry, everyone. I don't know how to make my phone work. So there's one picture. Doesn't really... That one kind of looks like it. Hey? But, wait. Now I'm going to throw a spanner into the works here. Southern banded snake eagle. I think it looks more like this. This one. More grey, mottled in colour. It also had a very yellow eye. See that? Huh. Manu? Okay, now shall we have a look at my photo again? Right, let's do that. Put the phone down. Oh goodness, my camera's got tangled in all sorts of things. We're playing detective here now, and I need your help. Let me see if I got any more pictures. There's a front view. There you go. Look at that. See, to me it looks like the southern banded snake eagle. There's a lot more grey and a lot more mottling. And then, I don't know, what does everybody think? What is the census on Twitter? What's everybody chatting about? What do we think? Southern banded snake eagle, western banded snake eagle? Both new birds for me. It's definitely one of the two. This is the tricky part now. Now I wait to see what you're all saying. Where are the superstar birders out there that save my life constantly? Not even just my life, but all of our lives. You're so great IDing. Let's have a look, but it's quite interesting. Compare them and have a look. Hello, boy. I'm so sorry. I moved too much and now he got upset with me. I'm so sorry, big man. I will leave you. I promise I will leave you to do your thing today, and I won't upset you anymore, because I can see you're a little bit bothered with the way. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start and we're going to carry on. Also, we're about to get absolutely covered in dust. I'm making a run for it. Manu, do you have anyone behind me? Oh, we're going. Beep, 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 beep. I'm avoiding all the people at all costs today. Wondering if I know how old that elephant bull is that we just had a look at. And yeah, not really. Should we ask him for his birth certificate? No, he's actually quite young. He's not, I don't think he's as old as some of the other bigger bulls that we have been seeing. I reckon he's in his 30s, somewhere around there. Some of those bigger bulls we've been seeing have been in their 40s. You know, haven't seen a very old one for a while. So yeah, so there's quite a few bulls that are hanging around that are between the ages of about 30 and 40, and then you often see large groups of boys that are even younger than that, and then they sort of stick around together. So this is the Angama lugger. They love it around here, but we haven't been seeing them in this area for quite some time. You can see that big gash on the ground. That's the lugger. I remember at one point when they liked to live inside it. And we'll see if we can find some more ellies around here. There should be some. Christian and Trey, you're wondering how good is an elephant's eyesight? It's quite similar to ours. They don't have as bad vision as what everybody thinks, or what it's made out to have. So it's fairly good. It's not too bad. But they use a combination, and that's what most of the animals do. Is they don't just use their eyesight. They use their eyesight. They use their hearing, their sense of smell. There's a black-chested snake eagle flying around. I don't know if we can get. You can just start to see it now. There's such stunning birds. We might lose it though because we have got a roof, but it's quite nice to have a quick view. And there's a roof. Hang on, it might dive down again. It's going straight over the top of our heads. There we go. It's turning. Birds are, you can kind of predict where they're going to go, and they're going to do the same thing. This bird's trying to catch a thermal, I think, at the moment. It's searching for one. Doesn't look like it's searching for prey, although that head is very, very busy. Constantly looking around there. Yeah, you're having to flap quite a bit. And you see it tries to go up, and then if it doesn't get that thermal, it comes back down again. Isn't that incredible? Very easy bird to identify from the sky. It's not quite as big as a martial eagle, which also has a white chest and a dark head. And there's quite a lot of barring underneath their wings, but it's a definite black versus white. And then of course you can just use the size as well. Like I said, not as big as a martial eagle. And quite a common bird out here. We see them almost every single day, in fact. They love to sit up on the balanites trees. And so normally when you can get good photo opportunity, is that they perch quite well. And they don't seem to fly away from the cars all the time either. But a lovely bird. We actually had a very, very, very good birding morning, a very good birding morning. Oh, wonderful. So it seems as though you've all come through with some answers as to what we think the bird is that I saw, that I took a photo of. Cool, let's hear them. I'm still trying to think. I haven't made my mind up. I think my money's on, I don't know. So there's a bit of a dispute. Dory and James, you've said you think it's a southern banded snake eagle. I also think so, just because it's a lot more grey in colour. And then Manu, you said you think it's a western banded. Now, the western banded probably be the more likely snake eagle, but the only thing is that the coloration for me was just slightly off. You know, I'm just looking at all the photos that I've got, and of course this is from southern Africa, and let me just check it. Immature. See, immature. No, it wasn't. It was actually an adult that we were looking at. The colours just look a little bit right. So I just want to check. So yellow legs, yellow eye, yellow beak for the southern, and for the western banded, I think it's got more. It's also saying it's got yellow legs. Let's check the photos though. There's an adult as well. And also yellow, but a little bit more orange, darker. Oh, I don't know. The pictures on this phone are interesting. Some of the adults look like they've got dark legs, and in the other photos, some of them have got light legs. I'm not sure. You know what we'll do is we'll send it to the expert, Brent Leo Smith. I shall send a picture of that bird to him just as soon as the show ends. In fact, he actually tried to phone me, so I'll need to give him a call back anyways. And I will see what Miss Patterson has to say and what Mr. Leo Smith has to say. And I think between all of us, we'll be able to identify it. If Tristan was here too, we could have just called Tristan up on drive if he was out driving and had a conversation with him. Can you imagine? Maybe we did a video chat. We're going to have to do that one day. I'm going to video chat Tristan on Game Drive while he's on safari, and then one of us are going to have to be live. I think that could be quite fun. Right, now it's getting warm. Thankit, you're wondering if I think that the eagles are cooler or warmer up there. I suppose you're talking about when they're in the sky. I would imagine cooler. It gets a bit more drafty up there, and as soon as you get higher, you climb the altitude, it does get cooler too. Even though they are catching thermals, which is the warm pockets of air rising, I still think it would be a little bit more pleasant. Where's that rufous nape lark? Okay, there it is. Can you see it on the on this little tree? And there was a question this morning. Are you sneezing again, Manu? That's Manu sneezing. We're talking about what birds wake up first in the morning. This is another one of them, the rufous nape lark. You can see, very easy to identify by its call. It's one of the first calls you learn when you're in the Eastern Cape, and I would imagine out here in the Mara too, they don't stop calling. I think it's quite a nice call. It's quite pleasant. Hard one to do though. Some of these bird calls are incredible, and you often hear the guides. I don't know about anybody else, but I often make the animal sounds as I go past them. I don't know why I do it, but I do. So all the birds I see, I try and whistle their tune. Must be very annoying for you, Manu. Manu says it's animals, as long as it's animal sounds. Okay, so I shouldn't do any talking then. But there we go, another little bird just sitting up, calling from a post in the form of a shepherd's tree. Right, let's see, who else are we going to find around here? I might actually turn around though, because I thought we were going to get a herd of elephants. This is like a great go-to elephant spot. If you're uncertain, you can come here. And this is also one of the areas we could see a kukul, not the spot where we saw the black kukul though. Unfortunately, I missed my turn off there. And to go all the way around. I have to take my jersey off. I'm so sorry, everybody. It's so hot. It's so warm now. Let me get rid of this. Woo! Feel like I need to start singing. It's getting hot in here, so hot. I laugh, but I actually sing that song often. Okay. And I apologize because I feel as though my hair is quite messy this morning as well. I don't think I did a very good job at brushing, but I'll work on it for this afternoon. Sweet history, wondering if I could be a bird, what bird would I be and why? I feel like every time I answer this question I say a different thing, so let's just keep the trend going. What would I be? I'd like to be an ostrich this time round, and the reason why I'd like to be an ostrich is because I want to go fast. I want to run like no other bird can run. I think that would be quite cool. So yeah, I think that's what I'd like to be, just purely for the speed, because they're very fast birds. Manu, what bird would you like to be and why? A hummingbird. Have you ever even seen a hummingbird? Where? At our camp? We don't have hummingbirds here. Sunbirds. Yeah. Sunbirds. Manu, I'm just giving Manu a birding lesson very quickly. No, I think you'd want to be one of those nice shiny ones with the long beaks, and yeah, those are the little sunbirds. I don't know which ones we are seeing. Why though? Why do you want to be one? Speed. Okay, for agility and speed, you see, like I always say, you can do anything when you go fast. That's normally my quote, and then I get stuck in the mud. So there we go. Manu wants to be one of the sunbirds. I'd like to be an ostrich today, just so I can run fast. Not too worried about flying. But then I think it could be quite cool to be something like a martial eagle as well, to be able to soar, or a vulture. I've done all those ones though, so I'll try and change it up every time I get that question. Oh, by the way, there must be cheetah on the border somewhere, because everybody keeps racing down to the south, and I know that if they've gone down to the south, that there's a possibility on the border of cheetah. And then Manu deciphered an encrypted code that was being passed on via radio, and then he heard the word cheetah, but we didn't hear where, and now we've just seen all these cars flying past. It's been like a highway today. For the first time ever, I got to this main road, which we're about to pop on, but a bit further down, and I had to wait for 4 cars, 2 coming from this side, 2 coming from this way, and I just sat waiting for the dust to settle. And then I tried to go, and someone else came out. Oh my goodness, it's very busy. As you can see, we're about to pass another vehicle now. So we need to keep on going. There we go. Alright, sneak past here. Oh no, don't be too bumpy. Trying to not make it. Oh, it's our friend, he's drinking water. No! Sweetest Tree, you said sorry for asking that question again. Don't be sorry. I like answering differently every single time. You must never be sorry. I was just merely saying that it's actually a cool question that we get answered, and I like to give different answers every time. Oh no, he's finished drinking his water. I'm so sad. I'm going to try and sneak past him. He's quite relaxed. Maybe he'll drink some more for us. Let me do this. The only thing is that there are going to be vehicles that are probably going to come past us. And because I've had to park on the opposite side of the road because he's very close to the edge. I'm trying to write my monitor so I can see what is going on. It's very dusty. Sorry, Manu. I took my foot off a break, but late. So this is just a little depression in the ground. I don't know if it was man-made, if they'd come with a tractor and actually dug this furrow type thing on the side, but it's filled up with water. He did have a drink. You can see the tip of his trunk is nice and wet. It's a different color to the rest of his body. And not quite ready to have a mud bath just yet. Just a quick sip of water. You know what it's like when you wake up in the morning, you should drink a glass of water to get your metabolism going. Well, that's what they say anyway. And he did exactly that, and now he's straight on into breakfast. And he's going to devour tons and tons of grass in his lifetime, as well as leaves and fruit and bark. They have hair. They really do. They have hair on their tails. Shall we look there? Because that's the most obvious point of an elephant. Or the hairiest part of an elephant is their tail. And then, all over their entire bodies, and we might not be able to show you, but Noel and Scott might, because the elephants in the Sabi sand are so relaxed and they come right up to the cars, and it's quite a cool interaction. But there you get so close that you can actually see the hairs on their body. You might be able to see little bristles now, but he has covered himself in some mud and some sand. And just a small patch on his back though. And so it's just like sort of hard bristles. So they do have body hair. It's just quite difficult to see it. You wouldn't think though, for an animal that had such wrinkly skin and such thick skin, that they would have any hair at all. Why would they need it? And then of course they've got luscious eyelashes too. Also, very tatty ears. Both ears seem to be on the tatty side. He's a big fella. He's a nice boy. Right, before somebody comes past and ruins our sighting, I'm actually going to drive on forward. This is, like I said, it's a very busy road at the moment. And I know that something is going on down on the boundary. I don't quite know what it is, but I don't want to get in anyone's way. Hello, boy. Now I see there's lots of cars coming in front of us now. Hi, elephant. Lara, you're wondering, what is that bump on his side? It's probably maybe an abscess of sorts, maybe a thorn poked him on his side, something like that, and it just looks like an abscess. You actually see them quite often on elephants. Something like that wouldn't be life-threatening. He looks okay. He looks like he's in good condition. He doesn't, seem to be getting thin and hasn't had an infection or anything along those lines. So he should be okay. Oh my goodness, the amount of dust I've eaten today. I'm going to have to go back and exfoliate. I just want to let this vehicle come around, and then we're going to carry up and head to a nice viewpoint and stop and have a look at the vista. Ah, my eyes, get out of my eyes. Wondering if the elephant's wrinkly skin is unique, sort of like our fingerprints. Most certainly, I'm pretty sure they'll have their own unique wrinkles and folds in the skin. I can't imagine that any two... Oh, sorry everybody, there seemed to have been a gremlin there. Sorry, Hayley. So what I was saying, I was answering your question, and I was saying yes, I would assume that they are exactly the same. Not exactly the same. Each one has its own individual pattern and to the way that it folds. I wouldn't imagine that two elephants would be alike. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. So we go through this another little quiet patch, and then we start to see things up on the escarpment again. Although today it's looking a little bit on the quiet side. I've seen some buffalo so far, but I haven't seen the herd of zebra that normally hang around, or the eland. Maybe we'll see an auger buzzard. That could be quite nice. Haven't seen one for a while. Have been seeing a pair of African hawk eagles flying about though. There's some more birds. Who have we got? There goes a white-backed vulture. And they often catch the thermals below the escarpment. There's a few of them, but that one's the best view. Off it goes, looking for something to eat. Good luck on your adventure, vulture. It's going to be a long one. And then we've got some other things flying. I don't know if we're going to be able to get them. They're in front of us. I'm not sure of the height of the roof though. We're just going to see them. Now this is always my favorite, when you see a bird that is just brown flying. That looks like one of the buzzards. Maybe a common buzzard? Very brown, very mottled. Doesn't really have a fork in the tail. I think it is. But again, birding is not particularly my strong point, but I do like it and I try my best. There we go, just hitting the top of the roof of the car. Not literally, but it's slowly catching a thermal. There's another one of them, there's a pair of them. You can't see the other, and that's where they've gone there. Both caught a very good thermal. That vulture missed out. He's missed out now and has gone somewhere else. Perhaps he knows something that these birds don't. Are we going to get baboons today? There's often baboons around here and warthogs. We've had some incredible sightings just up on this escarpment. It's really lovely. Maybe we can look for the cinnamon-breasted buntings that live on the rocks on the way up the escarpment road. They're quite pretty. Happy Cat, you're wondering if... Hang on, what's this bird diving down for? It's just caught something, Manu. There it is. It did. It came dropping down so quickly before I could hit the brakes, and then I saw it pull something. It bounced up to the grass after it hit the ground, and it had something white in its talons, so I think it did catch something. That was so cool. Let's just see if it's going to feed or if it's going to fly. That's so interesting. It is very far away, I'm afraid. No, I don't know what it's going to do. It's just going to sit there and look around. You know what I do miss seeing is the Wahlberg's eagles and them sitting up on termite mounds and eating the alates. That was always a really cool sighting to see. Something that I miss about the Sabi sand. A little common orange tip or sulfur tip butterfly that was also flying around, that white one. It had either orange or a sulfur color on its tip of its wings. Not that that bird will be too interested in it. What a pity. Oh, well, that's a pity. Anyways, we have to finish something off that we started this morning. I don't know what that bird is now doing because it's not concentrating, but while we watch it, remember I said we were going to do the jackal poem, so I jumped onto Twitter and I had a look. And so far we have got the following, and I need your help because we're going to have to finish it on the sunset safari, so get thinking. So it starts off like this. This is the story of the Fantastic Four, the little jackal pups that live down on the Mara floor. Round the termite mound they have some fun, but a lion would ensure the fun is done. Now that was from Christine. No, it doesn't have any. Is that the same bird, Manu? I'm just reading. So there we go. It doesn't have anything. It was unsuccessful, I'm afraid. Lucky creature that got away. Anyways, so there we go. So Christine, thank you very much for adding your little bit, and hopefully everybody else will add their 2 cents in, and I'll keep an eye out on Twitter, and then we can put a little poem together in dedication to my favorite little jackal pups. I like them, and then every time I think of jackal pups I will think of that poem for the rest of my life. Right. Well, I'm lying now. I'm saying there's not a breath of wind. Of course there's a breath of wind, but it is just a breath. So it's gentle, nice cool breeze. Today could be a great day to lay by the pool. But some of us have to work, of course. But I'd definitely be doing that if I was on holiday. I'd be lounging it out and just catching up on some sun rays. It would be nice. Benichi, you said that you absolutely love jackals now. I got you hooked. They are, and we haven't been able to have such intimate sightings with these jackal either. Normally it's fairly quick and at a distance. So the Mara has been really, really special with allowing us to interact quite closely with the black-backed jackals in particular. We've seen some incredible things since we've been in the Mara. It's definitely opened my eyes in terms of what animals can and can't do and what they shouldn't do. But unfortunately, we're about to say goodbye to all of you. We don't have much time left just yet, but there's final control in the top right-hand corner where Faith is sitting, Ryan is there, Edwin and Martin are bashing about the technical gremlins, and my room is not too far away. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on Sunrise Safari. Do the same thing this afternoon on the sunset. We'll see you a little bit later.